Hi Arjun, I got your essay probably a month ago, and I'm still struggling to put a format to the feedback I'm planning to send, and I think I'm kind of frozen on what and how I should be doing it. So this is how it is. Your document. First, I will be sending you a document with the topic instead of sending you a mail, and the document will be in Google Docs. So ideally, you should be having your own Gmail ID, which I suppose you have. Uh, and in the same doc you will be typing directly, or if you're typing it on or writing it down, you can copy paste that document into this document and submit it. It'll come to my Google Drive in daily writing practice at gmail.com, and in the same document is what I am going to see. And after submitting, try not to edit it to edit it at all, so that I get to see what you submitted. And this is a document which I created like that. If you had submitted it like that, this is how it will look. And this is how you see this title. This title is highlighted, which means there is some comment which I have made. And when you click on it, this there is a right on the right hand side, you get a yellow tinted box in which the comments are there. You click on the next yellow passage highlighted, and the corresponding comment will appear here on the right hand side, and so on and so forth. So there will be some sentences probably which are, see, for instance, today is separate. So for today alone, I have separate comment. So you have to be very careful that you are clicking in sequence of the yellow patches. So here we go. How I made friends with a bully. That's a title you have given. You have I liked it that you have given a different title altogether, where I had given making friends. Some children actually use the topic itself as a title, which I don't encourage, and this is beautiful that you have decided to give your own title. And my comment here is good title, I must say, as it evokes some interest in the reader to know how you did it and maybe why. But I think you should have given a question mark there. It's a very nice title. The opening line is that, hello, my name is Arjun, and today I'm going to tell you a story about how I made friends with a bully. I would suggest that you avoid such introductory lines where, as if you're talking to an audience directly in an auditorium, something like that. It's more like a speech, beginning of a speech. In a passage, I think you should be writing something which is a lead in line, generally talking about, hinting at what you're going to talk about, or some conclusions you have, some anxiety, something which is interesting, suspenseful, something like that, or even setting a context. It could be an atmospheric description, it could be about time, it could be about space, it could be like 20 years back when I was in so and so place, kind of once upon a time kind of thing. It could be something like that, not addressing somebody and saying what you're going to say. You just say that. Okay, so what I've written is that is more like how you would start a speech. Next time, try a few type of opening lines or intros. This is so one place you can be the most creative. Like an opening line is an opening shot in a movie. You think about it like that. Next time when you're reading books, see how the opening lines are. The idea is the idea is to generate interest in the reader to keep on reading, and also about what he can expect from your essay. Here, you could have said something about making friends in a risky situation, something that that is indicative of that. Okay. The next sentence is, one day while I was riding back home on the bus from my second day at school, I was thinking about all the events that had happened today. Oh, maybe you should make it two sentences. It's a pretty long sentence, especially in the beginning of the essay itself. If you give a long sentence, it might be a little tiresome for the reader. So try to split it. How will you split it? One day while I was riding back from home, it was my second day at school. Could be the first sentence. Then I was riding back from back home in the bus, and I was thinking about what had happened that morning today. So there's a conflict here. One day and today. One day and today. So in the same sentence, you cannot use both to indicate the same day. So if you're splitting it, it will not happen, or it will be accommodated well, and anyhow you can't use one day and today together. My falling over at the stairs, the boy who sat next to me complaining about me. But one thing I remember was the bully. I He was suddenly jumping into that particular situation instead of describing what happened when and stuff like that. It's more, see, I'll read my comments. It's more direct and simple. It is more direct and simpler to write about what happened rather than referring to it as if you've already mentioned it earlier, which is not the case. You've not talked about it yet, so you're here. You are actually referring to it by falling over at the stairs as if don't you remember kind of thing, which is not fine. His age seemed to be about around 12. About and around, it's a kind of redundant usage. About or around, either of which only you have to use. 12, too big to be in grade 5. He even, that's something which you guessed, I suppose. He even had two friends. See what I have written? Both who looked the same age. I'm not very sure this both who looked is the right English usage. Anyway, my comment here is that uncommon to have two friends? You have written like he even had two friends. I mean, as if having two friends is something which is unique, which it isn't. He even makes it sound like it. He even had. So maybe even the two friends he had along with look the same. That's what you wanted to say. Say something like this maybe. Rephrase a sentence giving emphasis to the friends also looking too big for their age or grade or whatever. That's what you were trying to say. The point is not that he had two friends. The point is that his friends also looked as big as him, is what you were trying to say. It doesn't come across. The next day at school, I sat down at my desk. The voice behind me said, "So, which subject do you teach?" Nice use of direct speech and drama behind me, and the voice and the direct speech and all this stuff. The voice sounded familiar. Good transition by use of the you have used this the voice and the voice repeated here, and that's a good connection between what happened earlier and what is going on in your head. I whirled around. It's a nice usage of good vocabulary around to see the bully staring at me with bulging eyes. um, you suddenly mentioning bully staring at me with bulging eyes, but staring at me with bulging eyes is a very nice description of how it was. But suddenly calling somebody bully, mm, without really describing the event or convincing the reader about it, at least calling somebody bully is little unwelcome. He said he's hi. He said he had a manly voice. That's again great detail to build up the character of Khalifa. Hi, I said, I am Khalifa. This probably should have been in the, you should give a break and put it in the next paragraph, or next sentence, next line. You should give a line break there. I am Khalifa and I am from Nairobi. You know, the capital of Kenya, right? Yep, I am from here. I am from there. Hello, I said nervously. That's again a nice build up of the character. You are a little shy or nervous and not so confident and aggressive, like the contrast between you and Khalifa is coming through from the beginning, in fact, which is nice build up. My name is Arjun and I'm from India. Then the teachers called all the new admissions into the platform to tell the class a bit more about themselves. I was first. Here you can probably talk about how your name Arjun makes it happen such a way that every time in a queue you are at the head of it. You are one among the first to be called always, whether you like it or not. You can describe a little bit about it. It'll be nice in a narrative like this. So I stepped onto the platform. You have described all actions well. I like it. Okay, then we stepped onto the platform. You describe. You can imagine. The reader can imagine where you are and where you are standing, and now when the names are called, what you do and stuff, which is good. Hello everybody, my name is Arjun and I am from India. I'm 10 years old. I said shyly. I said shyly adds to the character building. My old school was. The teacher corrected me. That is a very beautiful piece of drama you brought in there. Yeah, my school was RAKESS in Ras Al Khaimah. I was surprised by the sudden turn of events. There you're taking a quick cut into another time and space. While I was waiting for my bus, why you missed something? You probably wrote something and you removed it and forgot to build in the transition. I would like to know what happened there. It's very unlikely. You had such flow up to now, and suddenly you are, going ahead, fast forwarding it by something like 6 hours. While I was waiting for my bus, I saw Khalifa and his friends running around outside and pushing each other down. The bus reached outside, and I rushed outdoors and into the bus. Here, my comment is that for those who are not familiar with the kind of bus waiting shelter you might be using, please have some description of it before you could say something like that. Reaching outside and rushing outdoors and etc. and stuff like that. In a good narrative, the reader should be able to see everything, hear everything, and understand everything, smell everything the way they can comprehend. But what you say should be complete. And you try to tell them in their own imagination, they will be seeing, hearing, and smelling it. For that, special description is very correct description is essential. So read it again when you're writing something and see if a new person from the other side of the continent or the other part of the world globe will be able to understand what you're trying to say. When you're sitting in India and you're describing something happening around you, somebody sitting in Australia or Switzerland might not be able to comprehend it unless you really describe it well. So your writing is a final document which is going to be to surpass you, so to live longer. So probably somebody will be reading it 50 or 100 years later. You never know. So they should be able to understand it also in your historical context. So always try to be a little more accurate as possible when you're describing the plot, the space, the time, the context, the atmosphere, all these things in a narrative. When I was dropped off at my house, I ran home and told my mother what happened at school. The next day, it was PT day. We went outside. Good use of short communicative sentences. Yeah, I like this part of the passage, especially for the crisp sentences. The next day it was PT day. Full stop. We went outside. Period. I saw Khalifa and his friends walking quietly into the auditorium. Why they're walking quietly? While Khalifa was walking, he tripped the guy walking towards him, and he blamed it on the person behind him. So they must have already planned it. They were probably, they're setting the stage for that and planning something. They were so very quietly walking. I like that, usage of quietly into the auditorium, then tripping and making somebody fall. So mean, I thought. Well, even I was mischievous. The spelling is wrong, but not so much. In the auditorium, I played foosball. Here again, from the outside on a PT day, you're suddenly shifting to the auditorium without telling anything about it telling us anything about it. I played foosball. I think it should have it is foosball. Okay, with my only friend Kevin Joseph Dinesh, the only Indian in the class other than me. Maybe you can split that into two sentences. He was the only Indian. It could be the second sentence. He was very smart, but soon he got bored of the game and went to play foosball. So he left me also feeling bored. You're building up it nicely, Arjun. You are building up the situation in such a way that you were actually playing with somebody. That guy got bored and he left, and therefore you are left alone. And then you're creating a situation which forces you to go and befriend the so-called bullies, and that build-up is beautiful. Then I saw Khalifa and went to him. Hey Khalifa, can I play with you guys? Of course. Meet my friends Anas and Nabil. Anas is from Pakistan and Nabil is from Somalia in Africa. Do they talk with so much detail? It's beautiful if they talk like that. Nabil is from Somalia in Africa. Or you have added it. If you've added it, it's even more better. You look like a fun group, and can I join in just for this year? Just this year. Okay, that's a mistake. Now you can be in our group forever. That's a very welcome thing. No, I will shift schools next year. I like how that breaking ice scene is described, and the conversations are very crisp, and so many things are communicated in that two or three sentences. From the next day onwards, I played with them. I ate lunch with them. I did all sorts of stuff with them. Hope that doesn't include bullying too. This was an offside comment. I soon got to know their ambitions. Khalifa had a very good hand for drawing, so he wanted to be an artist. And a full stop it could be. Period, we call it. Anas wanted to be a cricketer, and Nabil, who is really chubby, wanted to be an eater. Ha ha ha. It's a very boyish, nice, cute details you've given. It again adds to your character, your perception of things, which is nice. The reader gets an idea about how you look at things, which is nice. Just around the corner was the first term examinations. I would strongly recommend rephrasing the sentence something like try to start the sentence with the subject. It feels a lot easier to read. The first term examinations were around the corner. I'm not sure whether you call it around the corner. Anyway, I focused really hard on all subjects. Again, adds to the character. You're hardworking, you're focused on your exams and stuff, and you're building up the contrast between you and your bully friends you made, and how that can't work out. In the end, all this will make sense. All these small little details you've given about them and you is a nice build-up of contrasting characteristics of two opposing you know, characters in the story, and in the end it'll all make sense. That's a beautiful build-up. I don't know whether you did it very consciously. If you have not done it, or I mean, then it's even more better. It is naturally there in you, which is nice to know. The first exam was chemistry. It's a it's a tough subject for most of the people. The day came, and that's probably, I don't know whether it was really so, or you just changed it to chemistry. Anyway, it adds to the convincing. It makes it more convincing that okay, Khalifa actually needed help. It was a tough subject, chemistry. The day came when I had to write the first exam. You could have probably combined it, those two sentences. A few hours into the exam, I heard sound. I turned around and saw Khalifa. He was asking me the answers for of some of the difficult questions which I could answer, but I didn't tell him the answers. Maybe you can give I didn't tell him the answers. Maybe you can describe it or whatever. A more convincing statement that you didn't want to. It can also be about your character actually. Instead of saying I didn't tell him, why I didn't tell him is a better convincing answer. Anyway, convincing statement. The next day, when I tried to talk to Khalifa, he said, "You have been thrown out of the group." What? I asked. I don't tell you. I don't tell you the answers of some questions and you throw me out of the group? Wow, what a friend I have got myself. That's a very nice conclusion, sharp and transformative. And transformative means it brings in some change in the reader, thing that you should be really watching out for whom you are making friendship with. So there is a message in the whole story. That's what the word transformative means here. And the end, I have a short note here for you. Arjun, your writing has an easygoing pace and narrative that is very much like an extract from a novel or something. It looks like a small chapter from a small novel you originally had written, something like that. It's a chapter from a novel. That is very much like an extract from a novel or something. Maybe you should choose to write longer, continuing stories for fun, and you never know whether you will make it big in that field. Try to get any book by one travel writer called Tahir Shah. So I like Tahir Shah's style, which I think is quite similar to how your writing is. So try to catch hold of some book. Uh, Caliph's House is one book which I have with me, and actually the name is also probably something which made me think that it is something similar. But I'm sure the writing style is also similar. He writes so beautifully. He lives in Morocco, and he's an Afghani English writer who lives in Morocco. Anyway, um, so with that we come to the conclusion of this revision, this feedback session of your essay. I look forward to a rewritten one with the corrections which I have mentioned. I read my comments very carefully a couple of times and then sit down and make the changes. In the same document you can write, or Yeah, you can send it in the same document or save as another one. Okay. I'll see you next time. Bye.